Padel drivers, how you doing? Today we're going to cover the different overheads that we have in Padel. We're gonna talk about the purpose of each of the shots. We are also gonna talk about when is the best time to play one or the other one. And finally, I will share with you my best 2 tips so that you can get the most out of these shots. Remember to stay till the end of the video, because the last one is the one that is gonna give you most winners. And remember to subscribe if you haven't. Vamos! Shot number 1, the bandeja. The purpose of this shot, remember, is to recover the net. One of the biggest mistakes that I see on this shot is that people play too aggressive, thinking that they're gonna win the point. Remember, don't try to win the point, focus on getting back to the net. So when do we play the bandeja? The bandeja is a shot that we're gonna play when the lob from our opponents is good, but not so deep that we are forced to play the bajada from the back of the court. The general reference is the post number 3, which is the intersection of the fence and the side glass. But take this only as a general reference. Where are we going to aim with this shot? The 2 most common directions are, first, cross court, okay, because obviously here we have a larger distance and it's best because we can push a bit farther, and also it's gonna give us more time to recover the net. At the same time, we're gonna find the double glass many times, and this is gonna get this player into trouble. And the second direction is to the center, okay? The important part is that if we play to the center, remember that the rebounds has to be really low, because if you don't play a good bandeja to the center and the ball goes high, you're gonna find the counter-attack immediately, and you're gonna be in danger. Can we play a bandeja down the line? Yes, but you gotta be really careful. I couldn't play it most of the times because it's safer to go back here and recover the net. If you play down the line and this player goes to the net and block, you might find a lot of trouble. So remember, it's easier to go cross. And the 2 tips that I'm gonna give you to improve your bandeja are to focus on length and to focus on a slice rather than focusing on speed, which is the biggest mistake, as we mentioned previously. If I play too fast, the reality is that many times I'm not gonna have enough time to recover the net. So it is much more interesting to keep it relaxed and go really long, okay? I'm not playing fast, and with that shot, I'm having plenty of time to recover the net. And again, the second tip is to keep it low. We're gonna do this with a slice. So the important part here is that the racket comes above the ball and we're gonna be brushing when we are hitting, okay? We don't need to play faster than that. Remember, the main objective is to recover the net. Shot number 2, the bajada. The purpose of this shot, well, this one is a bit tricky because although we are at the back, we are actually attacking. So could we say that we are trying to win the point? Yes, but you gotta be careful as well because the opponent is at the net and you can also lose the point really easily. So we're gonna say the purpose is to put pressure from the back of the court. So when do we play the bajada? Really simple. When the lob from my opponents is so good that I can no longer play a bandeja under safe conditions. So I'm at the back, they are at the net, and I'm gonna be playing the bajada. So where do we play the bajada? And this is a really important topic because if I don't choose properly, my opponents are at the net and they're gonna have a really big chance of winning the point. The best players, they are able to play the bajada to the 3 different directions. So even though these guys are at the net, at least they have to deal with a problem, which is they are 2 players and they have 3 spaces. So they're gonna have to leave one open. Important concepts for this shot. With the same preparation, you have to be able to show the 3 different directions so that your opponents, they cannot guess where you are aiming till the last second. And also, and this is really important, is that if you go to the center, you can go a bit faster. But the moment you decide to go to the angles, you have to slow it down because it's already quite risky and you don't want to make it even more risky by playing fast. Plus, you don't need to. If you play to the angles, really important, play the bajada and quickly move to a net to attack with your next shot. My 2 best tips to fix the 2 most common mistakes on the bajada. The first one is that you make sure that you get your racket high from the very beginning. I see many players that they come here with the racket low, and by the moment they try to get the racket high, the ball has already dropped and they cannot play a good shot. And the second mistake that I see many times is that people come here, they block their feet, the ball ends up behind them, and it's really hard to play a good bajada. So make sure that you get behind the ball and then you track the ball, leaving it always in front of you. Shot number 3, the vibora. What's the purpose of this shot? To win the point, or at least putting a lot of pressure to the opponents so that we can win the point on the next shot. So when do I play the vibora? Really simple. When the lob from my opponent is not that good, okay, it's not that deep, and also when the ball is to my right, because from here is the perfect moment to play that vibora. So, where should we be aiming with the vibora? Similar to the bandeja, the most common directions are cross court and to the center. Cross court, remember, we have more distance, okay? And to the center, we can start playing a bit faster. It is also interesting from time to time to play down the line with this type of angle, okay? Because with the side spin, it's gonna get really tricky. So, from time to time, differently too. In the bandeja, you can play here to surprise. But remember, be especially careful if this player is stepping in, because if you play to him, now you have all this space available for him to play. My best 2 tips to improve the vibora are: tip number 1, the point of impact. It is much easier to play the vibora if you leave the ball a bit farther back, because if you try to hit it here, you are not allowing yourself to get the maximum rotation from your body. So rather than hitting here and overusing your wrist, try to get it a bit farther back, and in this way it is much easier to get more rotation from your body. And the tip number 2 is that your arm has to be a bit loose, okay? Many people, they get too tense, too tight here, and they are blocking themselves, and it is much easier to keep your arm a bit loose and just let it go forward in a relaxed way. Shot number 4, the Rulo. What's the purpose of the Rulo? To put a lot of pressure on your opponents, annoy them, and potentially win the point. When are we gonna use the Rulo? Well, when the lob is short and is going to my left shoulder, okay? I'm gonna be playing the Rulo from this area of the court, aiming to that fence. Where are we gonna be aiming with the Rulo? As we just said, to the fence, but more specifically, the best area to aim is around here, in the intersection of the glass and the fence, because this player now doesn't know if he's gonna get the glass or if he's gonna get the fence. And a more exclusive paddle driver tip, remember to give us a like if you are enjoying this video, is that if you are a very advanced player, it is really interesting to make the ball bounce close to this area, okay? Why? I know it's easier to make the ball bounce around this area, but the problem is that good players, whenever they see that, they're gonna step in and get the ball here before it touches the side glass or the fence. Plus, if it bounces too early, the ball is bouncing and going high, while if you hit around this area, it's gonna bounce and stay low, okay? So that's the extra tip to choose the direction for the Rulo. My best 2 tips for the Rulo are: number 1, you have to direct yourself to the direction that you wanna play, okay? So you have to rotate a lot, like if you were showing your booty to your opponents. And tip number 2 is, what was tip number 2? Okay, I remember. Tip number 2 is that you want to close the shot with your core rather than just with your wrist, okay? Because most of the people try to give the direction with the wrist, and it has to be starting from here. Shot number 5, the smash. What's the purpose of this shot? To impress your friends and to destroy your opponents. So when do we play the smash? When the lob from my opponents is short and also is on top of my head, okay? So I always have to leave the ball on top of my head. Directions. Where is the best place to aim your smash? The best direction to hit your smash is in parallel, because when I'm hitting in parallel, the ball has less space to cover and it's gonna fly much faster. If I go cross, the ball has much more space to travel and it's gonna go much slower. It is a different story when I do the kick smash, but that's a different video. So let us know in the comments if this is a video that you are interested about. My best 2 tips to get an amazing smash. The first one is to hit the ball in the highest point possible. To take into account how important this is, you can see some pros gripping the racket a bit lower to get a bit higher and get more lever force. And tip number 2 is to use more your legs. It is extremely hard to hit with really good power just by using your arms, okay? You wanna be including your legs into the motion, okay? This is gonna change this shot completely. Okay, and now I know that you must be wondering, okay, Gonzalo, but you explain everything from the left. What happens if I play on the right? Well, if you are a lefty and you play on the right, everything that we explained from that side applies to you, but everything is gonna be mirror-sided, you say. And if you are a right-handed player that plays on the right, the important part here is that most of the overheads are gonna be bandeja and vibora if it's a bit shorter, but the thing that changes is what's happening when they lob me to my left shoulder. So the lob is coming around this area in the court. The first thing that you need to understand is that you need the help from your partner, as we explained in the video that we will leave somewhere here or somewhere here in the description, to understand that it's really important that your partner has to help you with this area, okay? If your partner is not helping you, there is another overhead that is called the gancho. So when I'm running late and the ball is coming around here, I'm gonna be playing that shot that is called the gancho. Basically, this is a shot to avoid the high backhand volley that is a really weak shot, and it has another advantage that sometimes if I'm running late, I still have time to recover the net if the opponents didn't put a lot of pressure on me, and also some people use it to look for defense. But if you want to know more about the gancho, let us know in the comments and we will make a specific video for this. Remember to share this video with your paddle partner that plays on the left and doesn't help you with the lobs around this area. Also, drop us a like if you think this video was helpful, and now go get on court and practice those smashes. ¡Vamos!